Spencer, did you hear about Xbox?
Yeah, I
They're
sure did.
drowning. Yeah, yeah. So we typically don't talk about like current events on this channel really rarely, but this one I kind of felt like we maybe needed to talk about because it's such like a Xbox is in such a state of like disarray. I feel like right now that it's almost questioning like what are they fucking doing over there? Like what's their plan? What's their goal?
Yeah.
You know? Um,
Well, when you say they're in
so
trouble, can you outline what makes them in trouble?
absolutely. We recently we had a big update from Microsoft. Big exciting news, which means that like 9,000 people lost their jobs
Oh no.
because they closed down a few studios, canceled a few projects, and those projects. I'll go from like I guess least notable to most notable. There's four of them, but one of them's escaping my memory, so maybe Spencer can help me out here. One of them was like a Elder Scrolls MMO, or some kind of Bethesda MMO or something
Okay.
that got canceled. It might be just a I no, I think it was just a generic Bethesda MMO that was like Space Theme or something. Got canceled. That's whatever. I don't remember what the other one was that was less notable, but the two most notable ones are two games that have been like trapped in like development hell for a while have been um dropped and the teams have been disbanded on those. The smaller one, I guess, quote unquote smaller one, is Everwild, which is Rare's game they've been working on for a while.
Hmm.
Rare's still around, but like I think they're like, yeah, get back to the CFD's minds, you know, like stay in there, you can't come out. So they're back. They're not making their game anymore, which is
Yeah.
sad. Because I know a lot of people worked on that and stuff, and I don't know, look neat. But the big one is that the Initiative, a studio that Xbox created and it fully funded and poached it like produces stuff from other companies like Insomniac and Crystal Dynamics.
Hmm.
They opened this studio specifically for the reason to reinvent and like reboot the Perfect Dark, which is like was an exciting idea. And also the idea of Xbox like having studios that are solely like dedicated to one IP, I think is not a bad idea. Like they've granted say what you want, but you know they have 343. They have which I think they even changed their name now to something else like the fucking Halo guys or something. And then they have like the Coalition, which is Gears, and then I think they even have like Flight Team that is like the Flight Studio stuff. Um, they have teams like
So so
dedicated to certain games.
so it's a terrible idea.
That's a terrible idea. It's like I get the idea behind it, but um, yeah, so like yeah, all those games were canceled and all those teams were kind of broken up, and the biggest one was the Initiative because they just straight up got shut down before their first game even launched.
Hmm.
Which is uh, and it, there's a few ways there's I think a few ways to look at this. For one, it's like oh, big mean evil game corporation cancels projects, right? I think that's how a lot of the outlets look at this.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't think that's the correct way to look at it, but I think the correct way to look at it is like there's a level of incompetency at Microsoft right now that is insane for like a huge like hardware software developer like that. This company that like buys a lot of studios and they like have a lot of things under their belt and they constantly brag about it. They make these big purchases and then they turn around and like there hasn't been much of note to come out of Xbox because like they're not well managed. Like it's and what's even funnier is that like the day after all this was released, Phil Spencer was like, "No, we're doing great," and
Yeah.
it was like, what are you talking about? Are you all right? Are you okay?" It's like
Well, yeah. There's a lot of ways to look at this. I don't know if I would use the word incompetent because I think they followed through on their mission plan pretty closely. And I hesitate to use the word successfully because they're closing a lot of things. But I think there's an expression in finance that I'm about to butcher, but I'm going to get as close to that I can to it, is when the tide comes out, you see who's swimming naked, is the old expression. And I think there's a couple things that Microsoft has done that's been their highlight that people have praised them for. And that's what makes this so strange, is people have praised them for it, and now I think we're seeing what happens when you do those practices, and it's like destroyed them financially. And the two things I'm going to talk about are Game Pass, and the second one is not is I get, how do I word this? Not keeping your games to yourself. So when people think about PlayStation, they think about their high priority first party titles. And they're not necessarily companies that they own, but certainly companies that they hold like large stakes in. I guess you call it second party, or maybe some of them are first party. I don't really know the logistics and don't care. But they have a company like Naughty Dog. Those games come out on PlayStation. They do not come out on Xbox. You have companies like you said, Insomniac, who I think used to be close to PlayStation. I don't remember. But anyway, a lot of companies like that are making exclusively PlayStation games. Well, Microsoft has made it a point to say, no, we release our stuff on all consoles. And everyone said, yay! Yay! Thank you, Microsoft. You're such a great company. Now I can play it on my PlayStation instead of paying for your service. And everyone is like, yay, Microsoft. Well, you know, there's one problem of you buy all these companies and say, yay, we got these companies, and then you let them make them for PlayStation. I would like to see the numbers that show if people are spending them elsewhere, or what the profit is. Because obviously there's a profit that they can make from those PlayStation sales. But what about the idea that they're not spending money on the Xbox platform? Like, there's got to be some drawback there. And I would like to see the numbers on that. They'll never show it, but I'd like to see them. I'll let you go.
Well, when I use the term incompetence, like, yeah, I'm sure that does play a factor into it, but I think the bigger issue here, that if we look back at like Xbox exclusives as of late, Xbox has a pretty hands-off approach when it comes to their developers.
Mm-hmm.
And usually that's like a good thing, but I don't think it is. And I think that's why we're seeing a lot of this happen now, is because like they've sunk so much money into into the initiative with Perfect Dark. They sunk so much money into Everwilds, which has been in production since like 2014 or some shit. Like they were hands off with Redfall. That didn't work out for them. They were hands off with the other. What was the Bethesda one? The
space
game
one. Yeah, who knows? It's terrible.
Yeah, space game. The fuck is that game called? It's so unmemorable. I don't remember the name.
Yeah,
Star Sky or something. That it's like I don't know, but that didn't get the best reception. Like it seems like Xbox's approach is like buy stuff, own stuff, let them make games, which isn't. That's like in like a perfect world, right? That's like the perfect system. It's like, oh my god, a big publisher just lets us make games.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're seeing is that whenever you have that much freedom and you're not actually like stepping in like a Nintendo or like a Sony would do and say like, hey, we need this game done by time, or hey, you need to reel things in. Like, you're starting to see the pieces of that fall apart, where I think they're just like, for them, from like a business mindset, it's like it's easier to trim the fat than to actually see these games come to light. That's like we're spending so much money making Perfect Dark. Like, we might be more efficient if we just cut them loose, right? That's kind of the mindset.
Well, and then it leads to my other part that I mentioned at the beginning, was the other thing is Game Pass. So all these games that they're releasing, a lot of people are not actually buying them. They're paying for Game Pass, and that's me included. They're paying for Game Pass, and they're just playing the game. And theoretically, I mean, if you do the math, it's what, like 3 games in a year? Is it somewhere? It's got to be something close to that. 3 games per year
Yeah.
that it costs. So if they release 50 games, I really only paid for 3 of them if I subscribe the entire year. That's if I subscribe the entire year. And a lot of people will, and I know people that just subscribe when a game comes out that they care about, and then they usually pool them and then wait until for like a month or two. They subscribe, play the shit out of those games, and then they dip out. Like, cause like who cares? So it'd be an interesting financial peak to see how many people are doing that, and how Game Pass is profitable, which I've heard that it's not, and usually within like a couple years, if you're whatever you're doing isn't I understand startup years have startup costs, so whatever, but if you're not profitable within a couple years, most businesses go bankrupt. Now this is a part of a business, so I understand that that wouldn't happen, but you would think that that would be a big problem. And thinking about it from both ends, so if nobody's buying your games first party, they're all using Game Pass, and then you also sell them to other companies, PlayStation. You also let those companies sell them. You're not getting the full cut from that. So where is the money coming from that they're supposed to be getting from gaming?
Yeah.
It's like I just don't see it. And again, everyone was excited that they did it, and it is, you know, very pro consumer. So I think they deserve some credit for that. But you're kind of seeing why people never did that in the past. And, you know, like if you think about PS2 versus Xbox, those were console wars. And, you know, gamers nowadays are like, oh, I hate the console wars because it was so annoying and so stressful. And yeah, it sucks that you have to buy one console to play certain games. But you're seeing why that is it's how you make money. So I'd be curious to see the
Yeah.
financials on that.
Well, not only that, but I think it's like I think they're sort of stuck in Game Pass. They're like, it's a very precarious situation for them. Obviously, if they're losing money, the easiest solution would be to just cut it. But the problem is that Game Pass came from a place of goodwill
Mm-hmm.
almost, where they were losing, they were down so far with the Xbox One, right?
Yeah.
Where they were just like, oh my God, what do we do? And so Game Pass was like their saving grace. They were like, we created this thing called Game Pass. You can come over and play our games because nobody's buying them anyway. Like nobody had an Xbox One. So it's like, you can come on over, play fucking State of Decay or whatever the hell you want to play, and there you go. And that was sort of like how it was like advertised and like how it was pushed, and people were like, I bought, like, I know I've heard people like towards the end of that generation be like, I bought an Xbox One S just to play Game Pass, or, you know, and that was like a win for them, right? They were like, they were getting console sales out of that. But now it's gone on so long, yeah, it's like the inverse effect, where it's like we made all these promises during that generation, a Game Pass, we could unlimited library, come on over to our console, and now they're, yeah, now they have to be losing money, hardcore on it, and
Yeah, and well, and this might be a little bit of a stretch, but I know that a lot of those big tech companies invested a lot in AI, and they're struggling to see the gains from it, the return on the investment. I wonder if some of that is also bleeding into this division, and they're like, well, I know it's not really a video game thing, but still, Microsoft as a whole is probably like, we really need to offset the cost of this AI thing that is not working. Um,
well,
so it could be part of
they
it too.
did. I think a few months ago they did show off some sort of like AI thing for games that was like, I forget what it did, like upscale or something. I forget what it
Mm,
was, but it was something stupid. It was something really dumb looking, because they like showed like side by side photos to like investors, and
yeah.
it like leaked to the public, and like everyone was like, like, this is what you're putting your money into. It doesn't look that good. You know, and it's
Yeah,
just
if you
like,
could get that to work,
that's
that would be crazy good. But maybe they haven't done that right. Because think about like a remaster. If a remaster's only like making a game look better, you could literally just scale it with AI and then sell it as a remaster, and then it would be, assuming it does it right, like that'd be very profitable, I would think.
yeah.
But maybe they just didn't execute that very well.
I I like looked more into like what was happening at the initiative, and in particular because like Rare's a lost cause, and I don't give a fuck about Bethesda, but the initiative's the interesting one. They got shut down. because they were pushing. I mean, they've been pushing Perfect Dark as far as like recently and like showcases and stuff, right?
Hmm.
So I was like, so well, what happened there? And like apparently like people were coming and going like crazy. So I don't like there had to have been some issues at that studio as well. That again, if to me feels like maybe that was also like people like Xbox not stepping in and like taking taking the initiative to like get their get their game back on track because like I know one of the heads from Crystal Dynamics came in and then left, and then one of the guys from Insomniac came in and then left, and then like a bunch of other people came in and then left, and then it was like at that rate, like yeah, a game's not gonna come together. Like
I
uh,
I think initiative and by a byproduct of that rare is going to be a very fascinating story in the not so distant future. Because if you think about it, Microsoft bought a Nintendo. They used to be a Nintendo, basically a Nintendo company. They bought them probably at their peak, probably not quite at their peak. I think they were working on that Star Fox game that was no good.
they just put out that Starbucks.
Oh, they just put it out. Okay. So not quite at their peak, but basically, like a lot of people think
Basically.
N64 Rare is about as good as it gets. Like you got Banjo, you got Donkey Kong, you got Conquer, you got Perfect Dark, you got GoldenEye. Like it doesn't really get much bigger than that. As far, like Nintendo practically used them as a first party company. Like those are basically mascots of Nintendo for that era. They took that company, gutted it over the course of a decade to the point that it's useless. They released a Perfect Dark, globally panned as just being awful. In the future, decided to bring Perfect Dark back. They have the company that made it, but they know that they destroyed that company so bad that they have to create a brand new company and poach talent to get it. Then cancel that game and destroy the company that they made. The amount of money that they wasted and the amount of talent that they've like just destroyed is absurd. It's astronomical.
And like I kind of get what they're going with it because this has worked for them in the past. It's worked loosely, worked in quotations, with Killer Instinct. That's basically what they did with Killer Instinct
Mm.
for when the Xbox One came out. They basically had a brand new studio come in and make a new version of that game, and that's a rare game, you know. So like I get what they were going for. Like oh, if we can't trust these guys anymore, so let's just build another team because like it's smart because like if you're going for like legacy outside of Gears and Halo and I guess Fable, which they're still doing, I guess. Like, there's not really much there for Xbox, right? That's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'll start pulling from the Rare library. But yeah, I don't think they definitely handled it the wrong way. I think the smartest thing would have been just to bring in like a pre-established developer for like like bring in Crystal Dynamics. I don't care, and be like, hey, can you make Perfect Dark you know, or something?
Yeah. So what do you think?
I
What
mean,
do you think is in the future? Like, do you see a silver lining? Do you see what do you see for it going forward?
it's muddy. I mean, they own like as much as like the media and us and whoever else are gonna like slam them for what's happening right now. Fox's argument is always like we're the biggest game publisher and we own like all these games and all these studios, right? Like that's sort of their thing.
Yeah.
I, yeah, I see them going the way of publisher. Honestly, I mean they're already going multi-platform. I don't Xbox. The Xbox console is gonna die definitely. I see that happening. I don't know. I mean, I know where there's talks of like them working on the next like Xbox, but I don't see it going up like like past another generation or so maybe
Hmm.
because it's gonna just become like Game Pass, right? Like that's their thing. That's their service,
Like
I
a
guess.
Steam, like just a
Yeah.
model instead of like a console.
Yeah. I mean, and we're sort of already seeing that. They're doing like that ROG Ally thing, right? ROG, yeah, because I think you can like access your Xbox library on there. But like
Hmm.
we're already sort of
Like
seeing it
Logitech has
happen.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be a shift for sure, but I think like days of the Xbox are gonna be in the past. Like I say, give it 10 years,
Hmm.
and no one's gonna be buying an Xbox. They'll be subscribing to Xbox, or something. Or
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't see any games on the horizon. I mean, obviously there's an Elder Scrolls 6 that apparently is going to come out sometime. So if that should
yeah,
ever happen, that would be
there's a
good.
they announced Gears of War 6, which is Gears of War E Day, like almost 2 years ago now, and we've seen nothing. We've seen none of that game.
Gears is dead. It's honestly it's not even like a thing. It's like
Well, no, there. It's on PS5. Coming to PS5, I think next month,
yeah,
this month,
it's
sometime. It's coming.
but the Gears series like just that series is dead. Halo's dead.
Yeah.
Fable, I don't
Fable.
Jesus. I really
Fable.
horrible. Just
Fable.
that series is horrible, and that game looks horrible. I am curious to play it on Game Pass. And I'm certainly not buying it, but
Come
I
on.
would
No.
try it on Game Pass. But no, that looks horrible. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't see much of a future there, but I'd love to see them succeed somehow.
What do you think could save them? What do you think could save the Xbox?
It sounds cynical, but a move to a free to play model with microtransactions.
Everyone's favorite.
Yeah. Well, they
People
gotta
love those.
they gotta get the Fortnite crowd. If you can do that,
Haven't they technically tried it with Halo? Right?
yeah,
Like
they got to
Halo's
do
free to
better. They got to do better.
play. I'm just saying they've. I guess they've sort of tried that. They
Yeah.
tried to try to go that way. I'm gonna say the only way that you're gonna get people to actually buy an Xbox is to actually make exclusive games, and also make exclusive games people want to play. 'Cause that's the other thing too. Is that like they're like, well, we have exclusive games, and it's like garbage. It's
So
like, no, you don't.
there's a problem with that. And I agree that would help, but here's the problem. It's kind of like the Game Pass thing is they've created this.
Yeah,
Like they're the ones that bragged about how their games are releasing on other consoles. It's kind of like you remember when they did the DRM stuff
yeah.
at the beginning of Xbox One? Like it was like their early thing for that.
That went-
That bad press literally cost them a console generation. And the amount of bad press they get, they're like, yeah, we're no longer gonna do that.
that bad press cost them a fucking president or whatever it was.
Yes.
Don Matrick. Yeah, they booted his ass out of there. They're like, bye.
Yeah, that kind of press will crush you. And like
Yeah.
I agree that's what they need to do, but how they maneuver around doing that is I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, man. Because it's again they created it, and I remember as soon as they announced remember they had that thing where they were like 4 games are coming to different consoles, and it was like Sea of Thieves, Grounded, Ori, and something else. I don't remember what it was, but it was just like whatever games. But everyone's like, holy shit, Halo's Master Collection's coming to PlayStation. Like they already sort of started that. It's like now it's like a dialogue where it's like, we want Halo, we want, it's like, so,
Like, no,
so
we
like I'm
can't-
sitting here
we can't
thinking
do
like, yeah,
we can't afford to give you
I'm-
that game.
I'm sitting here thinking like, what could they create that could be exclusive? But I'm like, yeah, but then if like anything like my first thought is like, like pander to nostalgia, have a new either have a team that's pre-established. Please God, don't make another studio for this. Come in and make like a Banjo Kazooie, right? That's a beloved game. You own it. I don't understand why you don't do anything with that. Like, but even then, it's like if you make it exclusive to Xbox, the people will be like, "Bring it to Switch. What are you doing?"
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Shouldn't this be on Nintendo? It was a Nintendo property for
Yeah, he's on the Smash Bros, so he should probably be on the Switch. Yeah, it's gonna be the same thing. Yeah, so it's gonna be like, well, I'll just wait for it to come to PlayStation or whatever. It's always gonna be that now.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be like, well, actually, Forza Horizon 6 looks cool, but I'm just gonna wait for it to come to PS5. So or
Do
come to Steam
not
or
do
whatever.
not listen to fans. Never. Never listen to your fans. That should just be the
Always ignore
mantra.
them.
That should be the mantra in everything. It's like you always, if you ever listen to fans, they're insane. The things that they want. You need to understand the fans at a certain level, but then give them what you want to give them.
Yeah.
Never listen to fans.
No, you just gotta throw them a little crumb. That's all you
Right.
gotta do.
You throw them a crumb that seems like what they want, but it's actually really what you want. And you package it the right way. That's what this talented company does. That's the free to play model. This game's free. Doesn't get much better than that, right? And then you get all these people
Yeah,
that buy into it.
free Banjo Kazooie.
For Evangel Kazooie?
But
Gotta pay for clothes.
If you want to learn the Talon Trot, give us $10.
Yeah.
Sorry, can't
Yeah.
progress. Yeah, be like Spiral Mountain.
You ain't got no money. You ain't leaving.
Yeah, it's a disaster, and like and we're gonna talk about Nintendo later, obviously in the Switch 2 segment, but um, I I don't think any of the companies are in a particularly good spot. Like maybe not like in a financial sense, but just in in terms of like favorability right now. I think they all have some pretty big issues this generation, but Xbox might be the biggest right now in terms of like this very moment.
This moment,
Which is
yeah.
weird because I've played most on Xbox this generation, but like now I'm questioning everything. I'm questioning my existence.
Well, I've played most on Xbox probably, but most of it has actually been on my PC, not on my Series S.
Yeah. Yeah, see, you're part of the problem.
It's just part of the problem.
Spencer, part of the problem.
Yeah.